I like Charles's description of what I'm going to do, because he said I'm going to come up and do my thing, and that's kind of what it is. It's a bit of a thing to start off. So it's a bit of a poem, a spoken wordy kind of poemy thing, and it was actually inspired. Something that I realized when Ted was talking about the proliferation of the dragons, and that happening. This is kind of a piece about that, that there seem to be more and more of them everywhere. And this piece was actually inspired by this T-shirt that I'm wearing.
Thanks.
I'm not a T-shirt model, and there's a reason for that. But this is a Banksy T-shirt, if you know the graffiti artist Banksy. And so he's got a picture of a guy who would have been a protester with a Molotov cocktail, but instead of that, there's a bunch of flowers there. So this was inspired by this T-shirt. But interestingly enough, I actually wrote the piece a long time before I got the T-shirt. It was just one of those time things, Like the T-shirt came and I was like, and I kind of just realized it today. But I'm a bit slow. I was wearing the T-shirt all day, and I was thinking, what am I going to wear for the flame? Oh, I'm going to have to change it. And I was like, thank you. Anyways, you'll see. Clock Tower's got his hands around the throat of the night. Sidewalks breaking in a new pair of blues. And cigarette is dying for another cigarette. And red light swears to God he's gonna change. But he still hasn't yet. And the violence is blooming. The violence is blooming. The violence is blooming like roses on a grave. And the Bibles flap like butterfly wings, but Satan is the one who saves. All those girls from a fate of picket fences, and all those boys from paisley ties. He keeps them wrapped up safe in nightmares, and feeds them broken, rented eyes, and the violence is blooming. So he picks himself a bunch of high-heeled, black-eyed Susans and unfed babies' tears that were planted in some back alley, and they've just been growing there for years. They've just been growing there for years. And every gutter is a garden, sprouting condoms full of ghosts that will haunt her dreams with whispers of, I swear I love you most, baby. I swear I love you most. Just give me some love. I swear I love you most. And the violence is blooming. And the specialty today is short skirt and her sailor in a taxi crash bouquet. And the violence is blooming. And the ambulance sings its siren song. And all the gang boys try to dock, but their hulls are stuck on switchblades, and they wreck on fisted rocks, and the violence is blooming. And the anger climbs like ivy, and the teardrops fall like leaves that have piled up dry and crusty until they overflow eyes eaves, until they overflow eyes eaves, and the violence is blooming. and you can't escape the danger because it's planted in your brain. And every time you weed the fear, it just keeps popping up again. It just keeps popping up again. It just keeps popping up again. She loves me. She loves me now. She loves me. She loves me now. She kills me. She's all I've got. Thank you. Just one more for me, so I'll end with this. This is a piece about we've heard these amazing stories about fear and these situations that kind of push us further than we can really go, and that's what this is about. In the middle of this conversation, this guy pulls out a shotgun, summons the Clint Eastwood inside of him, and says, "Reach for the sky." He says, "Reach for the sky." Reach for the sky. Well, my friends, I don't know if I was possessed by, I don't know, a will to die, but out of my mouth came these words, and I swear to God, I don't know why, but I says, don't you think that's a little too high? Don't you think that's a little too high? I mean, what the hell do you mean, reach for the sky? I've been reaching all my life. I ain't never come close. I ain't never come close. Reach for the sky, he says. You've got to reach for the sky. Reach for the sky. Reach for the sky. Now, I don't know if it was because the way that muzzle was nuzzled up against my nostrils in a far too symmetrical, far too reflective kind of situation. 1-to-1, nostrils to muzzle, like the two missing pieces of a perfect two-piece puzzle. And I said, okay, I'll try. I says, okay, I'll try. And I reached up. And I took a whiff of that shotgun steel, smelling far too real, and I just reached a little bit further, and who would have thunk it? Who would have thought? On the tips of my fingers, I felt blue. On the tips of my fingers, I felt blue. I never knew. On the tips of my fingers, I felt blue. You gotta reach for the sky. I felt like an eagle I felt light as a feather. I felt like Superman. I felt like the weather. Blue. Blue. You gotta reach for the sky, people. And maybe you never did really try. But I want you to reach with me here tonight. Come on, everybody. Reach for the sky. Come on. Reach for the sky. Because there's a shotgun underneath your nostrils right now. And if you're not raising your hands to the sky, well, that is your own problem. Reach for the sky. You gotta reach for the sky. Reach for the sky. Thank you, everybody. Keep reaching.